my people at? Where my people at? Comments. Greetings, people. Let them focus if they left the room. I just changed the share.
I wanna be free from all this politics. I wanna be free from all these politicians. I wanna be free from all these corrupt monsters. We want to chop me. Every night I ask myself, why? Say because fella die, that's why them they try to confuse I and everybody mind. I wanna be free from all these politics. I wanna be free from all these politicians. I wanna be free from all these corrupt monsters. We want to chop man. Madam Kukuma kill the king for political reasons. Them no fit talk as it be. Oh yeah, back to politics. Them start to dribble and scheme for the same corruption and critique. No plan for you and me. From all these politics, from all these politicians, from all these corrupt monsters, we want to chop them. When we they sleep, they meet to plan their evil strategies to control our resources. African leaders and their foreign counterparts, they be like from these evil monsters. We shall never be free from all these politics, from all these politicians, from all these corrupt monsters. We want to chop them. I said every day, every night, I ask myself, why? Say because fella die, that's why them they try to confuse I and everybody mind. From all these politics, from all these politicians, from all these corrupt monsters, we want to jump back. All these politics, from all these politicians, from all these corrupt monsters, we want to jump back.
Peace and blessings, family. Excellent, excellent. We have Winiel. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Jumbo from the West Indies, St. Kitts. We have the UK in the house, brother Imani. Blessed always for your support. We have Heriotsa. Greetings. Good to see you again. We have Mickey catching us live from sunny Florida. We're blessed indeed. Um, I can tell from the responses, most of us on the live at the minute have seen the film. So we would be working on the assumption that, it's thrown some ideas, it's brought some thoughts to your mind as to what the film entails, what the film is trying to achieve, and how we can work on bringing some of these achievements to fruition or to materialize. So, without much further ado, I will leave open two options for the day. I'll do a quick short presentation, and then I'll be inviting the audience, as it were. I'll put a link to share for those who would like to share their thoughts personally, because what tends to happen sometimes when it's just the questions through the chat platforms, some of them can get missed. So today we're willing, just jump on a couple of minutes or so, just tell us how the film has impacted you, any thoughts that is brought up for you, and what can we and where can we go from here. So again, thank you all very much for your attendance, for your participation, for turning up and showing up. I'm going to bring onto the screen some of the motivations behind how and where the film came to be. So I believe I have to do both at the same time. Can we maximize the screen? Excellent. Why are we here today? What regarding the film that we made, the short film, mini-mentary, the word we're using for, because it's a mini documentary of sorts, charts a historical precedent set by the British Empire in 1898, a precedent or legal precedent to be specific, that still has repercussions today, even as Britain no longer refers to itself as an empire. So let's get into it. Why this film? We made this film so we can highlight the legacies of systemic oppression against African sacred traditions, to bring us to a clear realization of why they remain so marginalized and misrepresented within societies. And this comes about from a long-standing campaign that we started about 5 years ago for the UK government to put a legal national representation for Oshun's festival in August every year. And some people clearly have misunderstood the value in such a demand from the government, not just even based on the fact that it's morally and humanely wrong to be refusing just a specific group of people their ability to just express themselves as openly as is afforded to everyone else. Yeah. I've been in WhatsApp groups where people have been asking if we're begging for acceptance. And there is no begging for acceptance. This is a demand for full statutory rights as a tax-paying citizen of any country. This is a request for you to be provided with your full entitlements. It's not a plea for acceptance. It's a right that must be upheld in all democratic countries. So why not for Africans? Various religious institutions receive many concessions from government, all governments, for their specific communities. So where is that for those of African traditions? Yeah. Why will such legalization be important? You will wonder. It provides a level of protection for devotees and adherents that can be a deterrent against religious bigotry, and also provides a means for a recourse to justice for those who are harassed or discriminated against for their beliefs, such as the state of our hair. In particular traditions, we know they are sacred. You know, your child is going to school, you're forcing the child to cut their hair. You know the tradition you belong to, but it's nowhere in the government recognition as a faith system. You can use this as a bedrock and a framework for which you argue your points. This is why legalization is important. It's not a begging for acceptance. So why would it also be beneficial? It will also afford civil, cultural, and political organizations to have a frame of reference for their work, as just mentioned. Such examples, you would have the entitlement to create your own ideological educational schools, same as you see everywhere for Sikh, Hindu, Muslim schools, so that these are places children can be introduced to accurate representations of African sacred traditions. Okay, we can find spaces and have access to funding to create such community centers or spaces for community gatherings and for shared learning to take place. You may be wondering why it's taking so long to get to this point. Ancestral Voices is largely the efforts of just myself, Dalian, and Verona, and much less is received in other forms of support, whether it's manpower, people being willing to support in person. For instance, for us to even put forth the campaign, we had to seek some legal advice and assistance. The film you've seen already or are just about to see again, if we get to that point, was made from a self-funding budget, because as much as we have so many hundreds of thousands of some of our social media platforms, when we actually ask for that material support, it's very hard in coming. Very, very hard. We can even go back and look at things like when we were running the campaign to get our learning resources in libraries and such. Out of those hundreds of thousands, I don't think we even got up to 100 people taking up the offer to go to their schools they're in or their local libraries to facilitate that happening. Okay, we love your support, but remember, Ancestral Voices is not like a football team or a fan club. It's even better if we can empower ourselves to be agents of positive social change. Okay, so before we get into the discourse, and I put the link in the chat for some of you who'd like to join us to come into the studio to share your thoughts on the film. I'll play us a little tune to open up. But please, let's go and onto the Ancestral Voices website and click and use the most underused button, which is the donate button. It's on the first page of our website. Let's put what we can. There's no obligation. If you can, put some financial support forward. As you can see, we will work with or without. But as you can see, the length of time it's taken to manifest this film, it will go at that snail pace, as it were, because the efforts really largely of about 5 people will always take some time when we have hundreds of thousands on our social media. Okay, so family, appreciate you always. Let's get into it. We listen to the music, and please head over to the website. Please donate what you can, and then we get into the studio.
Général Jean-Baptiste, ou t'es rentré dans le caille là, ou t'es ouais toutes mesdames à genoux, chapelet yo dans main yo, y'a pe ou les misères. Ou t'es ouais toutes mesdames à genoux, chapelet yo dans main yo, y'a pe monter les réaux. Produci la la bobo production ya, produci la vivi vini puduye mwe, sakte mare buki li même ta la geli, tambu couvri les rois qui vol pour toi c'est un kaila, produci la bobo production tete, produci la vivi vini puduye mwe, cal mwe pas ma chance si mare pas kembeli, la rose fait banda tout quand soleil pas levé, produci la bobo production ya, produci la vivi vini puduye mwe, la.
Peace, family. Coming back into the studio now. I will be open for those who would like to share some thoughts on the film. Now is our chance to get into the discussion. We've outlined why the film was important, the issue it's there to address. So all you have to do, we would like to get some verbal feedback, as it were. A link is in the comments. You can use that link, and then we will regulate accordingly. So if you've seen the film, even better. If it's brought up any themes, then feel free to share. And if not, what we'll do, we'll work a workaround and move the show forward. Okay. Excellent. So family, don't be shy. Any comments? Chikezi, I believe you were with us on Saturday. Are there any themes, ideas that the film brought up for you that you would like to share with us? Same goes to Brother Imani. Any themes, any thoughts that came to mind? Same question for Mickey Lee. If you as you caught the live as well, don't be shy. You can come into the studio. Camera doesn't need to be on. Equally, you can put your comments in the comments box and we can highlight them and have a discussion about them. And as a result, within about the next 5. Perfect. We got a King Kojo is coming in to share his thoughts with us. King Kojo, greetings. You're muted at the
Oh,
minute, Kojo.
I
So
got you.
please.
I got you.
Yes,
Yes, my
yes, yes,
brother.
yes, yes. Hello, how you doing, brother Kojo? It's the same.
Oh, yeah. What
Yeah.
you saying?
Me nso me hu ye, me da ase pa.
Good, 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 good.
Me ni agye se me hu. You
I'm
know.
doing well. Fuck you.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see you, man.
Thank you,
My
brother.
good brother. Yes.
Thank you.
So, Kojo, did you manage to see the film on Saturday? The Empire that banned the Faith.
Yes, I've seen it. Yes, I've seen the
Right.
whole film. The whole film. It was excellent.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, brother
Good,
Kojo.
thanks, brother.
Yes. Did the film bring out any thoughts within you? What is your view on the campaign as it were for you?
Well, I love the young lady was saying at Stratford, like how she says about black people, being oppressed. I love that point right there,
Mm-hmm.
and that we all went through, and I think, and that sticks, within us in this, point in the system. So I think it is why I think we need like reparations. It kind of needs to change, repair ourselves from healing.
Yes.
So I think that's very, very important. So that I love to touch on there.
Okay, okay. And what are your own personal thoughts in terms of a reparation? Do you see a our spiritual traditions having an important role to play in that?
Absolutely, I feel like is part of something that I don't know, and even in my journey, I started to discover myself of who I am, and kind of like reconnect to the ancestry, and part of really kind of touch into the ancestors, and really kind of like reconnect and start to love our community, our own kind, and um within us, is part of the community, and I think that is the most important to connect.
Hmm. So you brought up a very good point there, King Kojo, which is
Yes,
about you don't know much about it. How do you think, in your upbringing, growing up in the UK, being a part of the educational system, what do
yeah.
you think the educational system could have done better so that you wouldn't have that void of knowledge?
I
Because I
think,
take it you were introduced to other religions, correct?
yes, yes, I was. I think they could have done something that much positive. Even they kind of done something much uplifting, not something that's really negative about us. Telling about our story that's not really true. So I think if they would have done something much different, that's something that's uplifting and something that's lovable and connection of who we are and understand of ourselves, I think
Mhm.
everything would be much different, and we can just change things within us personally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great point, King Kojo. And on that note, I'll bring in Chikezi's point where it says, yes, I feel the abandoning of African spiritual practice highlights the power within it. Without our link to spirit, it is easier to manipulate us. What are your thoughts on that, King Kojo?
Yes, I think we have been manipulated. How we think, how we've been taught, how we've been deceived, that we just believe what they're saying, just like we've been twisted for what we've been saying was just true. We just accept it. Like me, I didn't know everything much, because in school I've been told that Africans were savages, and I've been taught that something I didn't know. So I didn't know much about spirituality then, when I was, in my childhood,
Mhm.
I mean, my teenager, sorry. But as I started to acknowledge the progress of my spiritual journey, I'm like, wow, this is crazy what they're doing. Like, we've been twisted off the mind, that we've been something that we've been told from them. So I totally agree. We have been manipulated.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Everybody else, And now, even
Mm.
in the age of this a ability to fake anything via computing and whatnot. Reality itself will become a very link, a very interesting experience. So yeah, no, absolutely. King Kojo, you've been a very wonderful supporter of ours. I appreciate you. I love what you're sharing with us.
Yes.
So yeah, no, please keep doing so. How else do you see yourself as an individual? It seems to be a bit of a problem with my mic, or I can hear static.
I can still hear you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Unmute. Yeah. How can you, as an individual, see yourself being able to contribute to getting the word out? Um, in terms of these campaigns for accurate recognition and representation.
Well, I would just like to, spread the truth, like just trying to tell people, about my journey, just trying to things that I went through,
Mm-hmm.
things our community went through, people who came before us, and then now the generations, who came before me now, the young generations or the older generation, they might not understand, but I feel like it's time for me to maybe tell the truth and just trying to be honest. I feel like it's very healing to tell our people our story. It's something we just don't know. Because a lot of people approach me on their journey because they could be on religion side. Like when I see black people who are religious, they approach me and say, "Oh, are you Christian or are you this? Are you that?" And then I said to them, "No, I'm not religious anymore. I'm in my journey." So they asked me what reason why, off top of that journey that you're in. I said, I'm starting to heal myself. I think they just don't understand that part of my journey because they don't really understand my experience. So I'm just giving them my tribute to my story of my journey so they can understand. But not everyone will understand my experience, but I can just give them the truth of that journey.
Absolutely. You can only be yourself in the end. And
Yes.
the self always will get or need development. So, Brother Kojo, give thanks for your sharing your thoughts and also your forever going support. All are
Thank you.
appreciated, yes. And having the courage to be our first guest to join the studio. You see how you've opened many doors and
Yes.
give others the courage to come in. So thank you, yeah.
Give thanks.
You peace and blessings.
Yes,
So
brother.
the next I will say, just give me a second to check what is happening with my audio, as it were. And there you go. I know it's not necessarily on my side. King Kojo, thank you for being, as I said, opening the door, the issue that opens the door. Brava Chikezi, not to worry. You can't join the link now. We already joined. This is why we're all here, and we'll be seeing you hopefully also in the physical soon, and having space for you to also share further thoughts. Brava Imani, your love, no limits. Thank you so much. You donate and do so much and even more. We appreciate you always. I will read up Living Legends Agency's comment. It's important to mention what they did to African versus spiritual practices, differences between us when we're the same. Living Legends Agency, thanks for that. Would you like to elaborate on what some of those specific differences that you've noticed are? Remember, you can also come into the studio. The door is always open. I will put the link back into the comments. Um, and then I know they definitely they've constructed differences in our social and political understandings, whether it's national identities and whatnot. It will be very good to know what you mean, especially the differences in the spiritual practices. I would love to hear more, so feel free to join the link to come in, or elaborate further in the comments so we can also get an understanding of what you mean in detail. So, Brother Imani, thank you once again. I will play up our heroes. I've been thinking about the way the spiritual reality of African and other indigenous groups have been denied. Thank you very much indeed. Firstly, by Christianity through a process of demonization, okay, and in modern time by Western psychiatry that pathologizes our practices and consciousness, of course. It's also important to note there, Heriotza, that Western psychiatry also extends into other disciplines that we call things like marketing, advertising, the media, because it's all to do with the mind. So very good point there. Psychic attacks, as it were. So hence when we say we're in a spiritual warfare, it is not really an understatement. It's a reflection of the same, as you just mentioned. Even Buddhism, as is practiced in the West, has led people to think that this spiritual reality is an illusion. Okay, would you like to expand on that for us? Also, not to forget, you can come into the studio. I wonder why this persistent need to deny the spiritual realm as a parallel reality to this material plane. Yes, I think we have a good idea why. I would like to hear other people's thoughts on that. I'll leave that as one of the questions you've given to us. I wonder why this persistence need to deny the spiritual realm as a parallel reality to this material plane. And Harriet's actually also reading your question. Let's not forget, even as they might deny that, what do we have with things like that? Hadron collider, where they're trying to look at the very essence of what they call the spark that brings reality forward, the Big Bang. And it's in one of these European countries. Of course, they're aware that there are other dimensions to reality. So yeah, I think we would like to see what they have to show. And Mickey, give thanks, family. I remember, I think when we were doing the Vodou shows, when we first came out with Vodou and Theology of Liberation, I remember you were on the calls. So give thanks, representing. You're still here. You're still supporting us. Thank you very much for your donation. We appreciate you. Nothing is too small. Nothing is too big. We're not in a hurry to go anywhere. We're working on the work, and we'll keep working on the work. So I appreciate you for the years of commitment and support. And here you are again. Thank you. I'll read. As a medium spiritual worker, this is a way of life. How can we erase ourselves? This encourages me to maintain and amplify my spiritual tradition. Give thanks. That's a great, encouraging message to hear. Absolutely. Once we have the willingness and the will to continue, it will never be erased, no matter what the intention. So we will keep it living. And what we're looking forward to with similar campaigns like this is, as you've correctly said, how do we amplify that? How do we amplify that across geographical distance? How do we now reach out and hold hands and do things that have wider ripples? That is the question and the direction your statement has taken my mind to. So thank you. Please remember, you can join the studio and participate in the conversation. That opportunity is still open. We have the shows meant to be on average an hour, so we have about 21 minutes left. Please, thank you too. Blessings. Yes, I will pass on to Verona. I'm sure she has oversight in the back also watching. We appreciate your lovely sentiments. So yeah, man, and also keep working, And now also, I know, as you said, you're a spiritual worker. So I'm glad to see that because I don't think it was made clear back then when we were speaking. So if it speaks to a development of your innate abilities, that's so beautiful to hear, as we step into our power. what Professor Fukuyama called, we need to be ngangers to ourselves. We need to be masters of ourselves, and that's what we do. She's watching me. Well, yes, brother Kojo. So we take some more questions, some more comments. Feel free, family. Don't be shy. We're here. If not, I might close us off by playing the film once again. For those of us who are here. Yes. One of the most powerful methods of banning African spiritual practice has been through mainstream Christianity and Islam. And it's such a shame. It for me, it doesn't even speak to a dislike. It speaks to almost an innate fear of when it seems like we can't control things, then we almost need to make them somehow anti. And African spirituality speaks to freedom. So even as we're campaigning for a political umbrella, so to speak, to help protect it, we also have to stay mindful of the fact that when we dogmatize, or rather when we institutionalize things, they can become straitjackets that can also withhold that practice to a degree. But where and why I'm confident this never happens and can never happen with our traditions is, even if we look at the systems that exist. For instance, let's take something like the yam festivals in Nigeria or Ghana, where it's a communal thing. So at the time of the year, we all go to honor and do a cultural or communal expression, which can be then codified as a religious expression. But even before people get to the Yam Festival, you're pouring your libations at home for your ancestors. You're also leaving your own offerings. And that is separate to the main, if you want to call it, religious expression. So it speaks to the essence of freedom, our traditions, as Mama Bayina so eloquently defines it in that regard. There is always that scope, because it's about that individual expression and how it permeates and influences all the other expressions. So that is a point that I note. We're even still also looking and working at ways to find the right, if you want to call it, labeling, the right title, because these things are very important. So it's a discourse that's open, and I'm very willing that we keep having it. So I think what I'll do at this point, family, I will play the film again, because it's even made me fall in love with the song. It's interesting how the song came to me. I appreciate you, Soul to Soul. Oh no. Okay. Soul to soul. Thank you. No, thank you too. Um, Brother Imani. So sorry to hear. Um, that is wow. I tried to enter, but StreamYard wouldn't let me. That must mean you have some powerful things to share, Brother Imani. As we know about the state of how things work, sometimes you might need to try again. Please try again and do that. But even if it doesn't, please type it in the comments and I'll read it for you. Um, bear with me, please. Soul to soul, I'm grateful for sharing your knowledge, for your sharing knowledge and experience. We're grateful to you too for your time and for showing up. Beloved sister Mickey Lee, the film about voodoo sparked my interest into looking into my Jamaican roots. Fast forward to Verona interviewing Alex, the Mayao priest, was in direct alignment with what my ancestors have said. That's a beautiful share, Mickey. And you know what you've even expressed there, and you see, this is how I'm glad. You see how it came to me as soon as I saw the profile. I was like, yes, it's our beloved from. And I remembered you because you consistently came to that year-long series that we had with the release of the film. And you see how Vodou, which we might claim is a Haitian expression solely, then leads you to walk, in a sense, almost backwards to find that essence of an aspect of yourself. And that is how spirituality works, you know. The connections are fleeting, they are not in the linear trajectory we might like or want, but so long as we're working with and through the process, we find ourselves in the places we need to be. So give thanks for that share. You know, we honor that. There you go, Brother Imani. Second time worked. Excellent. Great to see you all the time. Love and appreciation always. You know, yes, Brother Imani.
Yes. I'm Diambo Jama. Can you hear me clearly?
Very, very clearly.
Fantastic. I was having some problems. Yes. So yes, Hamjambo Jama. Greetings, Quinjid, and and to Godalian and Dada Verona. Love and respect as always, and to the whole family. Thank you for the beautiful work that you've done for so many years. And you've those who've been on the show of see me talking with each other know that even on my own website I give most respect to you, my African spiritual life coach, and to Ancestral Voices, because without you opening the door, it helped me on my development, and you've done that to so many thousands of people across the world. So thank you. Asante sana always. Yes, the film is brilliant and fantastic, and is a good entry point for people to understand, whether practitioners or those who are new to the concept, they can resonate with it. And I think that what people have been saying today in the chat, and Brother Kojo was saying, it really is important that we do this, because there has been such psychological and spiritual warfare against us, that if we have state backing for our practices and for respect, that takes away some of the negative perceptions of our practices, because we're not begging for anybody's validation, but for somebody to go into school, go into university, go into a park and see people practicing it and know that it's respected. You may not understand Diwali, you don't know what it's about, but you respect it. You understand that it's a special time. You understand that people are going to take out time. You understand that they may come into school and talk about, or come into work, and it gives it that level of respect, just in the same way as, the Jewish faith, that, in London you have, Stamford Hill and other parts, and the Sabbath is respected. The Sabbath is respected. And
whether you agree with it or not, sorry to
whether you agree or not,
and whether you think it's even real or a myth, you don't play no part in it. So
exactly. When you say which religion are you, your faith, it should be there as part of your African spirituality, or or Ifa, or Kandabele, it be listed, because people have a total, as the brother was saying, they have no idea. We don't have any idea, and other peoples don't have any idea that there are practices, and it's funny. Kendrick Lamar's, Super Bowl, has gone viral around the world, around the halftime show has gone viral around the world, and so many people have been, affected by it. And one white lady, she was commenting about how much she loves it. She loves it. First of all, she didn't like it, but now when she started to hear about it, and she said, I don't know what kind of voodoo, or
okay,
and it goes to, one voodoo racist term, Bodon. That's what it's called. It's what they call when they created their multimedia and their films and their stuff in the 50s and the 40s, to scare people away from, from our practices, as they had done, traditionally ever since the Haitian Revolution. But it also goes to an understanding, even implicit, that it's powerful. Now, it may be using the wrong time, but it's saying that he did something. He was able to connect in a spiritual way, something that me, as somebody from a different culture and different race, was affected. And I went from, I don't like it, to I love it, and now I'm your biggest fan. And that must be something powerful in it. And it's something I'm scared of. That's why I said voodoo. And I don't understand, but you obviously do understand. And you African people understand it as well, because you've been teaching me, and so so there's all these layers of things of propaganda and fear, but nobody says it isn't powerful. Nobody says it doesn't exist. They may say it's evil. They may say it's wrong. They may say that they're con people who do it, and something but nobody says it isn't powerful. Nobody says, that don't play with it. They'll say stay away, don't play with it. Because you'll call upon stuff that you can't control. There's all these sort of things, all these ideas. And for our practices to come away from that and just be respected as one of the pantheon of ways of expressing connection to the all, it will do so much for us psychologically, and even us thus being promoted that this campaign is happening is massive, because again, it raises the consciousness and says that there is a system behind it. There is science behind it.
Absolutely.
It's not juju. It's not animistic. It's not something that, and then we can start to go down, into deeper and say, well, actually, all religious faith comes from Africa, and it's all based on, but that's at the top level. But even at that sense of those who've been taught because of Islam and Christianity to hate their own practices and their own culture, would have to respect it. They won't feel they have the ability to disrespect, because the state has said, no, this is a real thing. Now, we're not saying that we need them to do that, but what we're saying is we need that, because if you're locked in their matrix,
which everybody is to a degree.
Listen,
there you go.
Everybody is. We all are. We all are a battery for other people to create the reality they wish. And it's time that we become our own battery and create and walk into our own reality.
Be in Ganga.
Exactly.
Yes. Brother Imani, I'll just stop you there only because you've thrown a lot of points, and me, I like to flesh out the fat, the bone, the prime meat, or the whichever, let's take out the layers, because it's the layers that make the totality of the powerful points you've made. So firstly, I pick up on what you mentioned about the Kendrick Lamar. As much as I'm not even aware, or I've kept up as much with it, as you were even making that point, and you mentioned the idea of this white woman or a European woman then manages to watch this performance and feel a force to such a degree, the only definition she can find for it is actually the term that they use to stigmatize it. That is a deep level of understanding, of perception, and of then even expressing what you felt. In this sense. And for me, as you explained it, what it brought to light, and I really appreciated, is you've spoken to something that you see we'll be doing a lot this year. It speaks to the force of culture. The force of culture, and as it allows people to create, to do things that others might not even think they have the capability to. And just on Thursday, we're going to have a conversation about the restitution of African body parts and cultural artifacts that were taken during the scramble of Africa. Because all these things, the reasons why we find certain level of dispossession or dispossession of the African self is due to the fact that they've removed this cultural force.
Yeah, exactly.
And then this cultural force has become something very positive for Europeans. And we're going to get very deep into it. We'll look at it at the levels of government, at the levels of creative and artistic production, knowledge production, the whole nine. So you've actually highlighted that point again very significantly. What is seen as maybe an entertainment genre or moment, in a sense, has been like an epiphany for this person supposedly of another race. You spoke into that
Exactly.
that magic.
Everything has intention.
Yeah, so
Everything has tension. Everything has tension. It has in power. Everything is a incantation, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or call onto that. You may not recognize it.
Yes.
You may not. The African spirituality simply helps us understand our own power and to use it intentionally.
Absolutely. Move with intention. Excellent. So my final question to you then, Brother Imani, as yourself, also a politically conscious and active brother, and also managed to get beyond, if you want to call it just the political veil, and then also tap into your spiritual ability. So it's a bit of a two-pronged question then. In watching this film, what or how do you see it adding a role to your political activity in respect to further recognition, respect, celebration of our traditions?
Well, I'm a African spiritual life coach. I'm also a long-standing member of the Pan-African Congress movement, a race-first, culturally African organization that's been in existence since 1975. And so this film will add to our promotion of African spirituality. And we will promote the link. We will have you on our shows and Dada Verona to talk about this, to promote this. And PACM, I can say, PACM will respect and promote and support ancestral voices 100% on this. Our Africa Liberation Day that happens on May the 25th this year. Well, May the 26th this year, but Africa Liberation Day always falls on the 25th of May. And we've had the theme, which you've been participating in, the Grand African Renaissance. This fits very nicely with those concepts, of the Grand African Renaissance, with us rebirthing ourselves, because nothing's been destroyed. No, it's just been covered up with layers.
Yes,
and that's why Kendrick Lamar, and other artists have power and can affect the world, and why we as African people affect the whole world, even in our dysfunction. They will follow us. They will follow us into our dysfunction. They will want to be like us because we are the first. We have that connection. Even when we don't even realize it, everybody else understands our power. Absolutely. Everybody else understands the power of our land. Everybody else understands that, even if it's just implicit, even if they say it, even by attacking us, it's because they see the power. You don't attack that which you don't fear.
Oh, absolutely not.
You don't kill and eat pieces of people that you think are worthless. Yes. You may say it, but your actions say the exact opposite.
Oh no!
And so it's time for us to unpick that, come out of the matrix, and understand that we are the one, Neo. We all are Neo.
Absolutely.
And it's time for us to change reality, because when we do, and I've experienced, and I know you've experienced, and that Verona has, is that when we tap into who we are, reality changes like this.
Yes, 100%. No, Brother Imani, he's been excellent. And I tell you what, again, as you talk, the points come and you talk about if we were the original, that dark mass out of which creation comes. As we know, those who were here for the African Sacred Cosmology lecture, we talked about that source of how Amen-Ra comes into being, from that darkness into the physical being. So no, absolutely. Without that source, there is no existence. And this year, we're going to break down those concepts exactly for our family. We're going to create a lot of mental conflict so we can shed layers and gain greater understanding. We're going to look at the greatest form of juju anybody's ever experienced, known as white juju. And it's not going to be some boo boo you can't touch. No, we can show you why you might experience other forms of mental dysfunction, community dysfunction, and why you are unable to be a thinking, acting being. And in Ganga, as Dr. Fukiyao says. Brother Imani, give thanks for joining the studio. I'm going to give and shout out a couple of, which is Soul to Soul. Please stay on, Brother Imani, in a second.
Okay.
Soul. Yeah, $5. So I can finish off because Soul to Soul has also highlighted your wisdom. You know, firstly, we thank you for the donation, much appreciated. Soul to Soul, finding us today, sharing time with us. Absolutely. You said you stay. If we practice our spirituality, others will have an opportunity to be educated regarding our spirituality. And of course, thank you, Ndugu Imani. So again, my brother, I thank you for your time.
Yes, and for sharing. Thanks very much, family. Thanks very much.
Absolutely.
Each one teach one. You know, I know because you know. We are because I am.
Absolutely, yes. And so we will also highlight the very points that our dialogue has brought forward, which is time to create our own reality, yes, and change that reality that we have. Mickey Lee comes again with a beautiful offering. Give thanks, family. The tree remembers, the axe forgets. Knowing our history will unveil the mystery.
Yes,
indeed, as
Professor Small
absolutely, our Asian practices will not be stifled. Wow, look at these powerful words of wisdom being shared. You know, so this is why I look forward and can see the vision where we have our first international African spiritual conference where we come into fullness of our being. And yeah, we're doing beautiful work. This is at the minute is even just in a virtual space, you know, and look at all this beautiful stuff. So remember, family, you can always hit us up with an email. Look around in your local communities where you might be. You might notice things that again we can work on. The issue of cultural rights is most important. If it's ancestral voices sending a letter of support, like this brother who was in the army and they wanted to cut off his locks, and he needed, you know, and he was a practitioner from one of the, I believe, what the Hosa or one of the Southern African communities, and it's part of his traditions, even if he's not necessarily an initiate, which he wasn't, but he knew of his significance to himself. Yes, why not? We'll also write a letter. We stand in support with you, even when we're not in their physical space. Yes. So you've all been beautiful. And
Ndugu Dalian,
yes.
can we just say, because you said something very practical last time that
absolutely
I think was beautiful.
Please go on ahead. I'll have a sip of water. Keep talking, brother Mani. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So it was what you said about putting ancestral voices, resources in libraries, going into your local library and requesting the resources. I asked for the books, asked for the book, asked for the videos to be there, you know, and so they can order it and give them the contact details for ancestral voices. If they say, oh, you know, we haven't heard of that before, then give them the website, give them the number. That is something practically we all can do. And I know that, you know, that's what, you know, I will be doing, you know, that, you know, we'll do, you know, and pass it on to others to do, because that's absolutely practical. And as Dugu said, you know, somebody, as we all know, you know, when we've gone on our journey, we haven't known, because we've asked, we didn't know where it was come from. But somebody could be on that journey, be asking questions, and they see that cowrie shell on that book. They see that saying Spirituality African, and they take the book off the shelf, they ask for that DVD, and it opens the door for them in the way that they've been asked to happen, you know. So, you know, let's be that agent of change, because let us understand we're constantly creating our reality. We don't have to wait for it. We're doing it right now. Every decision we make creates a reality.
100.
And a reality that our higher self understands and is creating for us, even in terms of challenges. They're not there to destroy us. Even all this is not there to destroy. It's to help us to grow.
Absolutely.
It's to help. It's help us, because we are one with the Creator. We're not outside of the Creator. The Creator is us. We are self. We are a divine being having a human experience.
Yes.
And this experience is for us, so that the all can experience itself. So there's nothing to harm us. There's nothing to destroy us. It's all part of our journeys. So let's, you know, choose the reality we wish. Because
Absolutely.
there's realities that we go into that we feel we have no power in. Yes, you do. You'll just be the battery for somebody else.
All the time.
Let's be our own battery. Let's
all
be
the
intentional.
time.
Because once you understand that, you can reject them and create your own.
100. Because you always have the power. So exercise
Always.
it. Give thanks, Brother Imani. I think we'll give the closing statements to Dada Verona. So let her come in. And then we'll just play the film to end off as well. But we'll be doing a lot of these. As I said, we have a lot on the agenda. There's layers even to the politics. I shade to that. Mama Verona, would you like to close us off?
All right. I don't know if you can hear me now. Can you hear me? I'm mindful if I'm being duplicated or not. Just let me know in the chat. If it's being echoed, I'll leave it. It's all right. I'm not saying anything. All right, I just wanted to say, I can hear my echo, I can't do it.
All right, family. Technical difficulties. As you saw with our last two shows, there's this echo. Yeah, the small echo. Yes, indeed. Sadly, we can't come out, but we're working on getting a more rounded technical setup. We can, yeah, I know we hear the echo. Just give me a second. We'll work something out, and then we can.
Hi everyone, just wanted to say thank you for all the amazing, beautiful comments and the support. Just want to give shout out to everyone. I know I've been a bit quiet, but I will be returning next month, so you'll see more of me then. But I just wanted to add, in terms of today's conversation, giving 100% props to Dalian, because the documentary was his initiative. He's had the idea in mind for ages, and now it's beautiful to see it come into fruition. But what I wanted to just add and contribute to this conversation is that we're here as instruments of change. You know, the ancestors live through us. It's not that we're here waiting for things to change. The change only happens through us, through our abilities, through our actions, through our thoughts, our words, and everything that we do. And so now this is a time where we're all born here for a reason. It's not a coincidence that we're here at this time. So it's time for us to kind of utilize our gifts and our abilities and what we've been brought here to do. So we are the change. We can see our world is rapidly changing around us. The old systems are breaking. So this is the time. This is the time for us to really embrace who we are, to embrace our spiritual traditions, and to be unapologetically ourselves, and to be able to live that, express it in our daily living. If you go to places like Japan, you have people practicing ancestral worship on the way to go to work. It's normal. Nobody bats an eyelid. And that's ultimately what we should be working towards, is to create structures and systems where this is just the everyday. And the most interesting thing as well about reclaiming our spirituality, I believe quite a few people already said it in the comments, that represents our own selves. This is about living to our highest expression, understanding that we are more than this physical vessel, acknowledging ourselves as the multiple faceted spirits that we are, you know, our ancestors, our spiritual selves. All of that exists within us, our connection with nature, our connection with the divine. Everything is so expansive within our very own vessels. And the more we connect with our spiritual powers, the more that we can embody that power and create change in this physical reality. And so for me personally, I just feel like if we want to hold ourselves in a state of empowerment and positivity, my cat's come to join me, so let's bring him on the scene. Hi. So if we want to walk in our power and walk in alignment to our highest abilities, then yes, reclaim ourselves, because that's what we're here to do. So I just want to thank everyone in the comments. Oh, give thanks, Mickey Lee. Thank you. And I'm so glad that you were able to make that connection to Jamaica and from the Mayal interview. I love how everything works. And this is it. This is how spirit works. It starts off with one thing and it leads to another. And so this video, for some people might, oh, this is a little documentary, but it can open up so much more. So that's all I wanted to really just add, is that whatever your vision is, whatever your goal is, now is the time to go for it. Don't allow the outside world to make you feel like what your vision is impossible, because it's ultimately an illusion. The ability and the power always resides within us. So it's time for us to step into our power, time to claim ourselves, claim that ancestral self, tap into that ancestral wisdom, and allow it to be our driving force forward. Give thanks, Leon Kojo. I'm so grateful for you. And thank you, soul to soul. I'm so grateful to you all. So thank you very much. Glad you could hear me if we were able to sort out that. But I'm going to bring Dalian back onto the stage. But I just wanted to say thank you all. I've been watching here in the background. All the support, all the feedback's been truly beautiful, and it does keep us motivated to do this work. So as I said, I'm behind the scenes this month, but I will be back next month with a nice, powerful schedule and things. So you know me, I always like to cover different topics of interest, and right now I'm working on something very juicy. All right, so I'll take care and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.
Peace, family. Thank you all for staying. We're still working on that technical issue, so do bear with us while that keeps going. All right. Thank you for your time. Yes, indeed. Soul to soul, we all do love the ancestors. They work with us, through us, and for us. Okay, so I know we've all seen it before, but I fell in love with that song. The way it even came to me was one of the most wildest of Instagram experiences. Getting on there, hearing that sound, clicked. I even thought it was the Dad fella, but that song hit everything, and it just birthed forth that video in a week it took. Yeah, so I thank you all and I love your support. But again, as I've said, over the course of this year, please be prepared. And as I've said, please, your donations are excellent. But remember, all of you know something I don't, myself or Verona don't. And you can also become excellent agents of change. Take us along. We are willing to bring you along. Let's all go along. And you'll be surprised just how much we'll create a beautiful tapestry for life, because our current reality isn't the best reality for any of us, no matter which part of the benefit scale you sit on. You know, it's destructive, and we can make it fundamentally useful to each and everybody, and no one will lose. So let's remind ourselves again of this spark to move us forward to ever greater things. Peace, blessings, love, and hopefully I see you on Thursday, where we look at how the taking away of those cultural artifacts and the bodies of our ancestors is trying to contribute to keep us stuck. But we're not. We're ancestors, and we're here to make that change. Asheo.
I wanna be free from all this politics. I wanna be free from all these politicians. I wanna be free from all these corrupt monsters. We want to chop man.
The United Kingdom prides itself on its 5 core values that it promotes to the world at every opportunity. The notions that defines its national identity and enshrine culture. These are the rule of law, individual liberty, democracy, mutual respect, and tolerance of different faiths and beliefs. As it's become increasingly diverse over the years, welcoming a range of different people from across the world, so also has the adaptations made for cultural and religious traditions. A glance at the list of currently nationally recognized and celebrated religious and cultural festivals or various places of worship that can be found across the country will attest to a significant degree of religious tolerance.
I know that there are a lot of places for religious people to like pray and practice their faith and stuff like that, and I think the UK seems to be good when it comes to diversity and like allowing people to kind of express their religion in peace. And I sometimes I go to Stratford and I see there's a lot of preachers outside talking about Jesus and stuff like that, and for the most part people seem to kind of be respectful, and nobody kind of like mocks them or anything like that. So I think the British community as a whole seems to respect religion and like what your faith is and practicing your faith. So I think we're quite well in that regard.
I am Muslim, and of course there are some problems, but overall mosques in the UK, they don't get attacked all the time. There may be problems like protesters, but of course it's the same with other religions as well. I mean, of course there are some times that people do things like that, but overall the UK is very tolerant.
I can't say yes and I can say no. Probably I can say it's not enough what they are doing at the moment, and they should provide more facilities,
I think it has different constructs for everyone's faith. I think that there's places where everyone can go, share their beliefs, have their beliefs. But I'm a man that travels a lot, so where I travel, I feel that in different countries, especially, they have more for people of different faiths.
Oh, okay.
Especially in like Morocco, Tunisia, Gambia. Just thinking about places that I've traveled, even Spain. If you go to different parts in the south, and you have like so many churches, so many places that you can go in, so many places, even if you're not of that faith, you can go in and you can just have your healing, have your time.
By no means perfect in its provision, but what these affordances have done so far is contribute to a deeper understanding of different faiths and cultures within UK society.
I feel the UK can provide quite a lot of benefits for your religious needs. We've become a lot more of an accepting country in the sense that we have mosques, different religious temples, even different churches with completely different religions. It's very good. I personally, I'm atheist. I haven't found any beliefs that I have connected to yet, but I really respect and I appreciate the fact that you can appreciate culture in the sense of having them buildings here.
When one considers the UK even provides sanctuary for persecuted faith groups from other countries, such as the Falun Gong from China, the impression one gets is a nation deeply committed to promoting tolerance for different faiths. which is why a stark exclusion in the list of national festivals raises many an eyebrow. The omission of a whole continent and its sacred heritage, Africa. What makes this exclusion even more perplexing is the long history the United Kingdom has had with African people for centuries and is keenly aware of the existence of their sacred traditions. This we know because in 1898, the UK government would authorize the passing of a law in its colony at the time, Jamaica, to ban all forms of African religiosity or faith expressions. The ideas in this law will consequently be implemented in all its colonies across the world, such that to date we still find detrimental references to African spiritual systems and its practices in the national constitutions of many former British colonies. What this act also evidences is that the British were and are fully aware of the existence of these faith systems many enslaved Africans carried with them to the diaspora due to the Ma'afa, the African Holocaust. As such, their continued exclusion in this day and age runs contrary to the stated British value of tolerance.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Pretty much quite pathetic, because how can you ban one specific culture or faith's beliefs and allow everything else? It seems very specific.
I was saying that they, for me, try to demonize our energy and our light and our faith. And you can see in churches, in all religions and everything, in all music and everything that is in this world comes from, you know where it comes from. So we need to just need to be ourselves and bring it back up. And that's it.
That's not very great, but it's good to see the UK has progressed so much. Look at it. There's no problems with that kind of stuff now. I mean, yeah.
Shocking, considering the image that they portray.
The Obia Act, passed in 1899, was the finalization of an earlier act first passed in 1760. It is the first among the European nations of the time to use lawfare to ban a faith, doing so with definitions that associated it with fraud, deception, and superstition, further stigmatizing it in order to encourage dissociation from the practice. According to its ill-defined definitions, even modern-day spiritual movements such as the New Age religion would be criminal, as it prohibits acts like mediumship, divination readings, and working with herbs. Even some established religions of today, such as Buddhism and Hinduism, are technically illegal according to the clauses of the Obia Act.
I read about it and about the English Empire, and then after that, now they become in the Commonwealth, which is they are before it was the monarchy and all of that. So that is, I think, it was not good, way to think about, to be tolerant and stop other people to choose which religions they can, to belong to. Or I think that is quite harsh and it's a cruelty, for that person or that group of people, because I believe everyone live in freedom and everyone free to do whatever he wants or to join any group, any faith. The main thing, they respect each other and we treat other with kindness, compassion, and mutual respect. Yeah.
I am shocked by that information. I would like to know why they made that decision.
We also know that the act was not grounded in any religious, ethical, or moral order per se, but rather economic reasons. By 1898, the British had already conceded sovereign land and territory to different bands of Maroons who had escaped and successfully resisted enslavement. In addition, there was rampant rebellion, such as Turkey's War, which led to the first drafting of what would become the Obia Law of 1898. What the British had noted was that all the resistance groups drew strength and motivation to fight from highly respected spiritual counselors in their groups, a matter of concern even noted by British historians of the time. So for the British, terminating all such individuals became an act of warfare, which is the strategy used to quell what has been recorded as the last of the largest rebellions carried out by enslaved people for their freedom, led by a man named Taki or Techi in 1760. The first act of warfare was to locate and kill his spiritual leader, and the insurgency consequently floundered. So the context leading up to the passing of these laws makes clear their actual intent. It was all about the money, not the welfare of the enslaved. It was not because African faiths were inherently evil or bad, but their tenets or ideas about divine human autonomy and freedom were obstacles that prevented the willingness to be enslaved, and they had to be removed with extreme prejudice. Perhaps this could be the real reason why, still to date, the UK government has made no efforts to recognize African spirituality in its own domain, nor has it made any efforts to pressure the Jamaican government to repeal this act and correct its colonial wrongdoings, and has reportedly ignored calls from within its own borders to act according to its democratic principles.
I think that, you know, as Jamaican people has been oppressed for so long to begin with, I think that the ultimate final thing, well, I mean, we deserve reparations and we deserve so much more from this country. And I think if we're not going to get reparations, the least they can do is allow us our freedoms in that respect, allow us to be able to practice our spiritualism and practice our religion and our faith and our beliefs, because as black people, we're so dominant in terms of our culture and our ancestors and what our ancestors went through. So it's important for us to be able to have that power back. And if by our government relinquishing the hold that they have in terms of this law and this legislation, absolutely, I think they should definitely get rid of it and abolish it and make us give us back our freedoms and allow our people to feel strong and empowered again.
The absence of African faith systems is not just at a national level, but also found in academia, where religious textbooks provide scant, if any, information about it. Where listed, it is described in the same colonial lexicon with the same tropes of a bygone colonial era, with the same inferences of Africans apparently worshipping dead people, stones and rivers, and hardly any ideological basis provided to explain these practices in their holistic context as provided to other faiths. In this way, the standard and level of education about African beliefs only serve to continue the racist stereotypes of the enslavement period.
We need culture, and culture is something that brings light to the world. You need it. So I'd love to learn about it, but I don't know much.
Fantastic. So what you're saying is perhaps more education about it would be good.
Because in secondary school, all I learned in RE was maybe a little bit of Hinduism, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you don't get in depth to any culture. I didn't learn about African culture at all in school, let alone the different religions associated. So,
when it comes to black cultures, I know that there's a lot of spiritualism. Like I myself is from a Caribbean descent, so my mom and my dad are Jamaicans. My mom and my dad are Rastafarians. So I was grew up in a very cultural environment where we practiced Sabbath on a Saturday. We read our Bible every Saturday in class. We practiced Sabbath. So I was raised in that environment, and I know that there's a lot of African tribes as well that practice different faiths and stuff like that. I'm not too familiar or well versed with the African culture and stuff like that, but I know from a Jamaican standpoint, like there's, you have Christians, Seventh-day Adventists, and stuff like that. So yeah.
Excellent. So do you think the government can do more by promoting more education around the other African faith expressions that generally people don't talk about?
Absolutely. I mean, I went to a Catholic school when I was growing up in secondary school, and although they did try to kind of introduce the students to different religions, like we learned about Catholicism, we learned about Buddhism, but yeah, there wasn't so much of an information provided on the Afro aspects of like black history and black culture and black religion. So I think they definitely should teach that in schools. I think young people want to know, like especially if you're a black child and you're growing up, you already feel different in the UK, and if you learn more about your history, about your culture and about your religion, like it might make you feel like a stronger being, like you can achieve what you want to achieve in this life, because we're so held back as it is already, especially in school.
What I found out from my own research, that there is common ground between all the religions.
Yes.
That is main things, even because I can't tell you the story one by one in that time, but there is common ground, universal common ground between all religions, which is based on compassion, kindness and justice and love.
What remains most distasteful about the continued marginalization of African beliefs is how unreserved the UK government and establishment are happy to profit off its knowledge of these systems while simultaneously refusing it any of the statutory rights afforded other faiths. One such example was in 2022 when the British Museum held the exhibition Feminine Power, the Divine to the Demonic. This exhibition catalogued a range of female deities across the ages, including many of African origin, from antiquity to the present, one of which was the Yoruba deity Oshun, an extensive exhibition that detailed her origins and UN heritage protected status for her sacred grove, as well as covering her annual festival celebrated by millions globally, yet ignored by the same UK government, even though it is a signatory to the UN Charter for Human Rights. You would think the UN protection status of Oshun's festival and grove would at least get the British government to change its mind. And least we also forget the British Museum is no stranger to African sacred objects, as it was described by David Alba in 2004 as the largest recipient of stolen goods, with many of them denoted as objects of power, indicating their divine and sacred functions. Yes, while the museum is happy to collect millions in revenue every year to give visitors a chance to browse these items, it seemingly has no interest whatsoever in formally recognizing them or the traditions they represent, thereby calling into question its willingness to meet its democratic mandate. The double standard of profiting while excluding is an affront to the UK stated core values, one it must remedy in light of its preferred international image, which is one of a just and fair country, as its behavior hints more to hypocritical values rather than democratic ones.
ridiculous, honestly.
Okay, no.
What they were doing back in 1800s is so stupid.
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
And of course, if they don't understand culture, then we don't understand even their faith. But in your back, Africa, I think we need more awarenesses. Creating like more community group or center, which is they need more funding this way as well. They need more, and instead of using the funding for the government elsewhere, but fighting and getting nowhere, just creating hate. You have to get funding that for the community group, for that. As I said, every group has awareness about African heritage and heritage faith, and that where you can teach our children and our generation about their race, about our ancestors, and that people they may have a clear idea about the treasure and more things that have been hidden for the centuries, and they may change their mind or they can accept it.
After lobbying for years with no response from the UK government or the Equality and Human Rights Commission, self-organized activists initiated an online petition to force the matter to Parliament, as it is only with numbers that the government can be pressured to act to fully meet its democratic mandate, and as is always the case, it is the power of the people acting collectively in pursuit of a common objective that brings change.
I think it's not the government that would do that. I think the people would protest more. The government is obviously restricted in some ways. We can only just have faith that the people will do something about it. Our people will hopefully try to do something about it, but the government in that way can't be involved.
Right, okay.
We need to not let someone else tell our story. We need to, research and put things together ourselves. But I feel like myself included could do a lot more, like meeting you, guy behind the camera and everything else. I'm sure there's a lot more now with the age that we're in with Instagram, TikTok and everything else. It's more easier for us to be able to spread the word and spread knowledge. You don't have to go into a school. You can just have a live, TikTok live or Instagram live, and you can preach what you want to preach.
Once signatories who are UK citizens sign it, it can be moved to a parliamentary petition, and the matter must be discussed and decided upon. We encourage all to also sign the Change.org petition, as it will also reflect the depth of global support for African spirituality, which can be of use to activists in different parts of the world to achieve their various goals in support of the retention and preservation of African spiritual systems. It will show a level of solidarity that crosses borders and marks the fact that African spiritual practices will no longer be confined to the peripherals or margins of society, or be the scapegoat of all social ills or religious superstitions. Its tenets and ideas will be afforded the same amount of respect and legal protections that all other faiths enjoy. The petition for Oshun is but a first step, as she is one of the most recognized, known, and documented representations of African spirituality worldwide. She also holds the most political leverage to open the door for a systemic and comprehensive change. So sign, share, and contribute to this discussion and movement for change.
Just need to be ourselves and bring it back up, and that's it. And not care what the repercussions are going to be, because the repercussions are going to be worse if we don't do anything for the next generation.
I wanna be free from all this politics. I wanna be free from all these politicians. I wanna be free from all these corrupt monsters. We want to chop me. I wanna be free. I wanna be free. I wanna be free. I wanna be free. Every day, every night, I ask myself, why? Just because fella die, that's why them they try to confuse I and everybody mind. I wanna be free from all these politics. I wanna be free from all these politicians. I wanna be free from all these corrupt monsters. We want to chop man. The king is dead. Madam Kukuma kill the king for political reasons. Them no fit talk as it be. Oh yeah, back to politics. Them start to dribble and scheme for the same corruption and critique. No plan for you and me. From all these politics, from all these politicians, from all these corrupt monsters, we want to chop them. When we they sleep, they meet to plan their evil strategies to control our resources. African leaders and their foreign counterparts, it be like from these evil monsters. We shall never be free from all these politics, from all these politicians, from all these corrupt monsters. We want to chop them. I said every day, every night, I ask myself, why? Just because fella die, that's why them they try to confuse I and everybody mind. From all these politics, from all these politicians, from all these corrupt monsters, we want to chop them. All these politics, from all these politicians, from all these corrupt monsters, we want to chop them.
Give thanks, family. You stay true it. Let that energy inspire you onto greater things. And I hope to see you on Thursday when we start speaking about the return of our ancestral remains and sacred artifacts. There's much work we can all do. So go to ancestralvoices.co.uk now. For those who are not aware, we're running a sale on all of our products. Yes, our learning courses. Go in there, connect with one. If you're totally new to African sacred traditions, you can start at the home study course. Great introduction to concepts and practices. For those who are getting or in that middle space, you can look at transformative self to look at how or why you exist as a spiritual being and how that translates into what you manifest in the physical aspect to that spiritual aspect. And more so important than anything is the practice. When you step into the practice and you radiate those energies of manifestation and creation. You can look at a course such as Living an African Spiritual Centered Life. So you connect and attune with the cosmos and its elemental forces therein. So I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday. Use the code BHM30 for 30% off all. I shall see you all on Thursday. Walk well, walk good in Shiran Kamuda. Blessings and favor to you always. Asheo.